All right, let's talk about bringing some order to the chaos that can be project management. We're going to dive into a system designed to do just that, the Project Management Information System, or PMIS for short. Let's break down exactly what it is and how it works.
So here's what we're going to cover. First, we'll talk about that feeling of information overload. Then we'll get a clear definition of what a PMIS really is. After that, we'll see how it fits into the whole project lifecycle, talk about the people and processes behind it, super important, and wrap up with the huge win of transparency. Okay, so first things first, why do we even need a system like this in the first place? Well, the answer is something I'm betting almost every single project manager out there has felt. Just pure, frustrating information overload. So, does this sound familiar? You've got tons of information flying around, emails, chat messages, documents, but somehow key stuff just gets lost in the shuffle, right? You're asking, wait, who's responsible for that? Or what did we actually decide in that meeting last Tuesday? It's just classic communication chaos. And this really hits the nail on the head. The problem isn't that you don't have the information. It's a delivery failure. You know, when those key messages, those critical decisions, or those hard deadlines don't get to the right person at the right time, well, that's when projects stall, budgets get completely blown, and everyone's frustration just skyrockets. Okay, so how do we fix this mess, this communication breakdown? Well, we start by getting a really clear definition of the solution. And that solution is the PMIS. Think of the PMIS as the central nervous system for your entire project. I love that analogy. It's a system built to help your team with all the big stuff: planning, scheduling, monitoring, and reporting. And what's the common thread through all of those? Communication. The whole goal here is to create a single source of truth, so everyone is on the same page and you can have real open collaboration. And hey, the numbers totally back this up. Get this. According to Hive, a staggering 77% of high-performing projects use project management software. 77%. That tells you something really important. The most successful teams don't just hope for good communication, they build a system for it. All right, if you want the official definition, we can look at the Project Management Body of Knowledge, the PMBO. It calls a PMIS an information system consisting of the tools and techniques used to gather, integrate, and disseminate the outputs of project management processes. Wow, that's a mouthful. But really, just think of it like an engine. It gathers up all the different pieces of your project, integrates them, and then sends the important stuff out to the right people. Now, this is super important because it clears up a really common mistake people make. A PMIS is not just a single piece of software you buy and install. It's actually a whole set of tools and methods that you've honed over time. Its main job? Integration. It's all about pulling everything together. It collects info, presents it clearly, acts as a control tool to keep you on track, and, this is key, it's there to support the actual people on the team. Right, and another thing to remember is that a PMIS isn't a set-it-and-forget-it kind of tool. Not at all. It actually evolves and changes its role depending on where you are in the project. Let's walk through what that looks like in practice. So in the planning phase, you're using it as your budgeting framework, your financial blueprint. Then, when you move into execution, boom, it becomes your project's command center. This is where you're collecting information, comparing your baseline plan against what's actually happening, and managing all that data. And finally, when you get to the closing phase, it's your official record, the place you go to review your goals and verify that, yep, everything that needed to get done, got done. But here's the thing. You could have the most expensive, most powerful software in the world, and it still wouldn't save your project on its own. Because the success of a PMIS really comes down to something way more important than just technology. This quote just says it all, doesn't it? PMIS is a technology tool that is only as good as what you invest into it. That really cuts to the core of it. The power isn't in the code or the features, it's in how your team, your organization actually invests time and effort into using it. So really, when you boil it all down, it comes to this. The technology is just the enabler. The real engine, the thing that actually drives success, is the quality of the people using the system and the strength of the processes you build around it. Without that human element, even the fanciest software on the planet is basically useless. But when you get that combination right, when you have great technology working with great people and solid processes, the result can be absolutely transformative. And that brings us to the ultimate benefit, the grand prize of a well-run PMIS. Okay, so what are those core benefits? First, a strong PMIS bridges out information gap you always see between different stakeholders. By pulling all the data into one central place, it just naturally makes team coordination better. But the two biggest wins, in my opinion, are these. It creates complete transparency, and with that transparency, it demands accountability from everyone. There's nowhere to hide, you know? And that's what keeps the whole project driving forward.
So I want to leave you with one final question to think about. We've talked about the PMIS as the project's central nervous system, or its control tower. So take a second and think about your own projects. Is your system providing clarity, or is it just adding to the confusion? Really ask yourself, how effective is your project's control tower?